Well, we get another day. Is it hooray, or is it, oh, this again? Or is it just, oh, it's like this moment? Good morning, dear Dharma friends. This is the being that thinks of itself as Robert Beatty.
Can't fucking take this.
It sits in Portland, Oregon. And this is a gathering of the Portland Insight Meditation community. I'm accompanied on the journey today with my pal Jim Dalton, who is incidentally riding shotgun. Should anyone intrude on our meeting, they'll be toast. That happened once. And ever since then, we've passed laws, built walls, put up secret codes. All right. I have a poem. It's a poem that, quote, I wrote. It wrote itself. I'm not sure when. It's a long time ago. I just discovered it this morning. You know, one of the three characteristics of existence is anatta, literally not soul, not self. And one of the great illusions is this self. So this is a poem that emerged some years ago, and it goes like this. It's brief. Anatta. Wait, I forgot part of my ritual here. There.
Recording in progress.
Anatta. No self to be found. Incessant, exquisite, excruciating formation, dissolution. Who is then to judge, be judged, shame, or be shamed? Anatta, no self to be found. Incessant, exquisite, excruciating. Formation, dissolution. Who is then to judge, be judged, shame, or be shamed? So, dear friends, it took some effort to get up this morning, to do all those things that were necessary before we could gather like this. Let's bow to each other for the effort, for the commitment to support ourselves and each other in practice. It's like coming into the zendo or the meditation hall and bowing to the Buddha, bowing to your cushion, bowing to the community. We will need to end at 5 minutes to 8 today. We have yet another board meeting. Just to keep you up on this, the excitement of the saga. Yesterday, the plumbing inspector failed us again. It turns out that somehow the sinks, which are in a cabinet, are not appropriate for ADA bathrooms because you can't roll a wheelchair under them. Someone specified the wrong thing. They will be hanged, of course. We will have to look for a scapegoat somewhere. But it means that those have to come out. And everyone's going on vacation now for the holidays. So it will certainly delay us. And it'll cost some more. Isn't that just like life? You remember, it's 25 years ago, they put the Hubble Telescope up in 2 parts. And then they put it together in space. And it didn't work. Because they'd used metric on one side and inches on the other or something crazy. And 10 months later, they sent up a contact lens that went between them, and then they could work. So we're prone to frailties, aren't we? Let's remember that the next time something blows up in our face and we say, oh, I should have known that. Well, life is so much more complex than that. So, friends, let's sit. Let's sit and practice accepting life on its own terms, as profoundly messy as it is. So what's the mood that comes to this moment of sitting? What about the life of the body right now? It breathes, doesn't it? Today in the Northern Hemisphere, the distance, the time, the mind moments between sunrise and sunset are the longest of the year. The earth, in its dance around the sun, has reached the solstice. There's a beautiful reading for this day. It's by Susan Cooper. So the shortest day came, and the year died. And everywhere down the centuries of the snow-white world came people, singing, dancing, to drive the dark away. They lit candles on the winter trees. They hung their homes with evergreens. They burned beseeching fires all night long to keep the year alive. And when the new day's sunshine blazed awake, they shouted, reveling. All through the frosty ages you can hear them echoing behind us. Listen, listen. All the long echoes sing the same delight. The shortest day as promise wakens in the sleeping land. Listen, they carol, feast, give thanks, and dearly love their friends, and hope for peace. And so do we, here and now, this year, and every year. Some would say the greatest contribution to world peace is to become peaceful ourselves, to become suffused with peace. For violence in ourselves to diminish to the vanishing point. For kindness to blossom like peonies in the springtime. And what better way to be peaceful than to stop? For a time to abandon the quest for happiness through consumption, the quest for happiness through domination, through winning. And so here we sit, the essence of peace. There may well be parts of this being that are not peaceful. The five hindrances could be in full blossom one way or another. There could be anger churning or jealousy or fear. But they arise into a space of consciousness, which includes mindfulness, which allows them to arise and pass away. They would create progeny of themselves of the same kind. A jealous thought arises and I grab onto it and become jealous again, or frightened, or angry, or full of desire. And instead, we can just stop. Observe the arising and passing away. Each breath shines like a beacon in a dark night. For centuries, we humans built lighthouses. We put them on rocky points. And every lighthouse had a different frequency of shining. So we could know, we need to be careful here. And they're pretty impressive when you're at sea. You see them from the deck at least 20 or 30 miles out. And the breath is like that. It's a beacon. It's a beacon in the darkness. This way, come into reality. And each breath has a beginning. We can imagine it, that I'm making an effort and I am now going to pay attention to the breath. Or we can imagine it that the breath and the paying attention to it happen together. They co-arise. And this co-arisen presence can be with the breath from the very beginning to the very end. This moment could be a moment of great peace and ease. It could be a moment of tumult, of grief, of anxiety. Maybe there's some, quote, problem on the horizon. Neither is better or worse than the other. They're just what's happening. It helps to know the five hindrances. It helps to be able to name emotions. It creates of them objects. And with all phenomena, they all sing the same song. They all manifest the same truths. They arise and pass away on their own terms. And we can dive into them and identify with them or reject them and struggle with them. Or just let them be. And so perhaps embracing in-breathing and out-breathing. Gently, no violence, no coercion. In fact, freedom. Imagine. Imagine having a friend so close, so dependable as your own breath. A friend who's never busy somewhere else. Like the heart. A friend who says, "Come, be with me." I'm never the same, but I'm always here. Really, somehow, mysteriously allowing awareness to be utterly intimate with breathing. Notice if there's any tightness anywhere in the body. Forehead, gut, jaw. Simply softening. What if we were to really entertain the notion that there's nowhere to get to? There's not going to be some moment, months or years from now, when we deserve it, that something magical will happen and we'll be awake. That time will never come, because it's here now. So why not be awake now? Notice, be intimate with this breathing in, with whatever thoughts are here. We all know what love is. We know the passionate love of falling in love and the liking of things. But we also know the love when there's no effort, when there is no demand, when there's room for everything. It's intimately related to insight and compassion. I aspire to love and accept myself exactly as I am in this moment. When I discover myself to be hurting, suffering, it is my heartfelt intention to hold myself in sweet compassion. The compassion we would do offer to a hurt child, to a crying baby, to a beloved friend who's lost someone. There's no fixing it, but I will be here with you in your suffering. And we might make up a simple little practice. On the in-breath, breathing in love. Breathing it in so that it touches every cell in the body. It could be paralleled with I love you and with your name at the end. That might be a good in-breath practice too. I love you, with your name there. And then on the out-breath, may all beings be free from suffering, or may I be free from suffering, or may my loved one be free from suffering. If there's pain somewhere in the body, breathing in, healing, relief. Breathing out, suffering. And just as we each want love and compassion, so do all beings. The Sufis say there's only one desire, and that is the desire to go home. Even the most heinous acts rest in that desire, wanting to find safety. May all beings everywhere share in the merits of our practice. May our practice continue through the day. When you get up from your meditation spot, do it consciously. When you push the toaster down, consciously. When you start the car, conscious. When you pick up the phone, conscious. Mindful. When you encounter a friend, mindful. If you dare to turn on the news, mindful. I invite to the altar of our hearts Ruth Dennison. And please think of your teachers. We stand on their shoulders. Mindful of the body that sits here and touches the chair. Mindful of the hands and the fingers. Noticing the jaw and the cheeks and the nose and the eyes. And the intention to open the eyes. And then seeing. Come on. I invite you to join me to look from face to face. Real people. A whole life story with each one. Hopes, fears, longings, losses, successes. All people of extraordinary good fortune to have found the Dharma. Much as I sometimes complain about Zoom, it sure does the job in a way. Well, I looked and couldn't find this week's digest, which had some very nice description of Candle's work, Sunday nights, and can you find it, Jim, do you think? I put in digest and I got 300 listings. Sunday nights, every first and third Sunday of the month, and then I think, can you share? I think I gave you the power to do that. We'll see. And while Jim is doing that, we are PIMC. The community of PIMC is in our end-of-year fundraising mode. We interrupt programming very little. I listen to NPR, and sometimes when they're in their begging phase, I pay attention. It's amazing how much one has to ask to remind people about generosity. But I encourage you to remember, become a monthly donor if you're not already, and support something of incredible, immeasurable value. The number of people whose lives have been transformed through PIMC and the teachers at PIMC and the events at PIMC, it's in the thousands, which is really something. So consider that and go to the website and have a great time. I often think of Marshall Rosenberg's comment, please fulfill my request only if you can do it with the joy of a small child feeding a hungry duck. So look for the joy. Where do you find joy? And I propose it's not in receiving stuff. Are you ready to share, Jim, or not? No? Okay. It's okay. So I think that's really all I want to say. And we have just a few minutes. We have another... we have 15 minutes or so. Must be punctual for the board meeting.
Robert, if you were talking about...
So what's up with you folks? Anything you want to share? Dave Mayer's speaking, and I can't hear anything. Let's see if this will work. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Are you hearing?
I'm hearing.
Good. I was just mentioning, if you're talking about Candle's Rejuvenation Circle, I posted a link in the chat.
Oh, good. Excellent. Ever since Dave pointed out to me 2 days in a row that I hadn't started YouTube, there's a certain terror when I start. I get it most days. I'm not complaining. I think it was very well done. You did it very kindly.
Good morning, it's Francine.
Hello, Francine.
I just want to present to the group that I ran into Doyle Banks yesterday. Doyle is very, very, very ill. His daughter is with him. I asked, is there any way I could be of service? And he said no at the moment. But let us keep Doyle in our thoughts and prayers.
Thank you.
Found the message from Candle, if I can found it once. There it is.
There it is.
Rejuvenation circle starts 21st of January. How can I get this? Oh,
Thanks, Jim.
okay.
And the link is in the chat, which is great.
Okay.
Well done.
Hey, Robert. It's Shannon.
Hello, Shannon.
Hi. I had the chance to go to a 10-day Vipassana course just recently. And I now understand why you guys go to these retreats and everything to do these, it's like a deep dive, and it was really hard. And but I learned more about myself and my practice, and it was really insightful. So incredibly so, yeah.
No wonder they call it insight meditation, huh?
Yeah.
Great. You're not having any difficulty practicing, would be my guess. It's like, oh, right, of course I do this.
Yeah, it was it's something to come back and not be meditating 5 to 8 hours a day, depending on the day. So, and now my back is like incredibly strong. So,
yeah. Thank you.
yeah.
This mind just had I think, a lovely association. It's been years since I remembered this. It was a woman, I think. she was recording using tape recording, which shows how long ago this is. She was recording the utterances of an elephant pack. And she was rewinding, and she heard this, something she'd not heard before, which was kind of a low rumble. And so they did some researching with some subsonic recording gear, and they discovered that elephants are in constant communication with each other on a subsonic channel, and that they can hear it miles away. They had the hypothesis it's one of the ways that they keep that the males keep themselves spaced out so as not to come into conflict. But constant communication, kind of like us in silence. Reminds me also, way back, my first master's degree, York University, 1970. A guy called Bob Mark, who taught interpersonal communications, which I had never heard of. And he taught that when we're talking with each other, when we're in communication with each other, there's the content and the phatic, P-H-A-T-I-C, phatic communication. And he claimed, and I think it's true, that something like 85% of what we communicate is in the phatic communication, which is the nonverbals and the body posture and so on, tone of voice. And the phatic communication says one thing. I like you, you're safe. I don't like you, you're not safe. You're safe, you're not safe. And we're all looking for that. You're safe, I won't harm you. And when we're silent, in a peaceful way, what a lovely message that is. Oh my goodness, Dave, my mayor, you're quite something. There's a court case to determine if elephants have a right to personhood. Oh my, yeah. How did you know that, David?
There was an article in the Washington Post a couple of days ago. I don't remember where I found it, but I just read it, and then you started talking about elephants, and I made the connection, and that's what it is.
Amazing. Oh my goodness, it's 7:59. I must turn into a pumpkin. Happy solstice, everybody, and let us sing our way out of here. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Many blessings, everybody. Hi, Molly. All right. Must zoom off. Bye-bye. Have a great day.
Bye.
Prepare to enter hyperspace.
Thank you, Robert.